And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, elephants and zebras, gypsies and fairies. I don't feel good, people. So, if I look awful, if the house looks awful, then that's just the way it is right now. My girlfriend makes the best darn tea in the world. She says she doesn't. I say she does. What a great thing to argue about. No, but she uses the right number of tea bag. I see. My favorite tea is Earl Grey. I like it loose. Somewhere in the basement, there's supposed to be a tea press that I bought in San Antonio before I left, and I don't know where it is. It may not even be there anymore. It could be broken, but I like loose Earl Grey tea. Well, I don't know of any place around here I can buy that. I have to buy it online, and there used to be a place called, I think it was Bean and Leaf. It was a store at the Ingram Park Mall in San Antonio. Not Ingram Park. What is it? Ingram? Yeah, it was Ingram Park Mall. And you could buy loose tea and all sorts of coffee, all sorts of different teas. Anyway, she uses the right amount of tea bags. She uses green tea, the right amount of water. Everything's just the right amount. I like tea, and I cannot make it this good. So, anyway, so I'm drinking this. What I probably should do is stop drinking this and go get some hot tea, but I'm not going to do that right now. This video is actually not about tea. This video is about Southern slang. Now, I've lived all over the world, so some of the things that I say are not Southern. I know I'm a New Hampshire Yankee now. My late wife, she said, "You better never start sounding like a Yankee." And she was a Yankee. She wasn't a New England Yankee, but she was from Illinois. But she didn't sound like no New England Yankee or nothing like that. But so both my girlfriend and I are Southerners. Now where she's from is different from where I'm from. I shouldn't say where I'm from. I mean, it is different from where I'm from, but I'm not from the United States. I'm from Spain, but I lived in the South for 40 years. Southern United States, that is, for 40 years. In Texas, to be specific. Now, Texas is big. It has lots of different cultures. I made a video last night, or I think it was last night, or recently anyway. When I lived in the Texas Hill Country, you could still find people that spoke German, and that's all they spoke. But see, those people are descended from German immigrants who moved to that part of Texas in the early 1800s. They actually wanted to make their own country. There used to be a lot of animosity toward them because of that kind of thing. Anyway, in Texas, I lived and or visited basically every part of the state of Texas, and Texas is big. Now, to me, East Texas and the Plains are essentially the Old South. The further west you move, the more things change. But I love the piney woods. The piney woods, to me, that was living. That's like up here. If except up here it's hilly and mountainous. You know, the piney woods is flat, swampy, wet. Other parts of Texas are dry as a bone. No matter what part of Texas you live in, you have this 2 seasons, this summer and last summer. Anyway, so one thing we used to call if you were a male, you were a boy. Didn't matter your skin color, didn't matter your age. You were a boy. Hey boy, come here. Hey boy, what's up? That kind of thing. You know, every male was a boy. I don't think people say that as much today as they used to. And then you have reckon. I reckon. And yonder. Now I'll tell you a story about yonder. When I was a boy, when I was actually a boy, and we were living in a little town outside of Houston, and I'd been playing down in the bayou. And see, there you go. I've been playing down in the bayou. I guess the more proper way of saying it, that's Maggie's tale, would be I was in the bayou playing, I don't know. Anyway, I had run home or ran home. I don't remember what happened. It was something because it must have been important. And I got home and I said, Mama, something done happened down yonder. And she said, what? I said, something done happened down yonder. And she said, where? I said, down yonder. Where? Down yonder. And then I started to realize down yonder really doesn't mean any place in particular. It's somewhere. So I think after that I stopped saying yonder as much as I used to. Yonder is somewhere, but where is another question. Another southern saying, it was something I had completely forgotten about until my girlfriend Lisa had said something, and that's no account. If you're no account, you're no good. You don't work, you don't take care of your family, you don't do nothing. You're no account. Reckon, I reckon, means I guess, I figure. You're kind of saying like, I know or I understand. Come here, Maggie. I'd like to see. This is Miss Maggie. One night she's going to kill us in our sleep. Right, Maggie? She is the queen of the house. Everybody obeys Maggie. Even we humans. So let's see. We had gators. Didn't call them alligators, they called them gators. And boy, them things are mean too. And they'll chase you. Ain't. There's another southern slang. Ain't. Now, my mother was from North Carolina, rural North Carolina. My daddy was from Canada, excuse me, not Virginia. My daddy was stationed in Virginia. My parents lived in Virginia at one point. I lived in Virginia at one point. My beautiful girlfriend in there is from Virginia. But now I forgot what I was going to say. But what? What, boo? Oh, you can't get in. I'm sorry. That is why we had so much poop on the floor this morning. I blocked their litter box. Anyway, you can get in there now, boo. You can get in there now. I moved it. Okay, so reckon, Holler. Down in the holler. We have a holler back here. We have a holler down there. Folks up here don't know what no holler is. How do I explain a holler? It's where you have to holler to people. It's where you live in a hilly or a mountainous area, and you're trying to talk to somebody who lives on the mountain over there. You live on the mountain over here, or they live on the hill over there, and they live on that hill, you live on this hill, and you want to talk to them, but you don't want to go to their house. So you go down to the holler and you holler at them. It's like yodeling. And yodeling is like a way of communicating over a longer distance. You know why there was a mess on the floor? Hon, there was such a mess on the floor this morning because I had blocked their litter pan. Anyway, so the holler is like a valley, I guess you could say. You're hollering back and forth. And you have them gators. A friend of mine in elementary school, we had come back from summer break, and the teacher's asking us all what we did over summer break. And sorry people, I'm having to take deep breaths and stuff. I'm congested, I'm not feeling good. I'm not going to say what his name was. I'll say his first name was Chris. I won't say his last name. And the teacher asked him, so Chris, what you do over the summer? I went to Dimdare Hills. Boy, he never lived that down. Oh, at least not that school year. The whole school year, the teachers and a few of us, were like Dimdare Hills. He went up to the hill country to see his granddaddy, spend time with his granddaddy. And he said, I went to Dimdare Hills. That's what I was going to say earlier. Ain't. Now, I remember going home once, or I was at home, and I said ain't to my mother. Now, you have to understand that my mother had some college. She was a nurse. She was an RN. My grandma, my mom's mom, had been a school teacher. And one day, I said something like ain't to my mom, and she's like, you don't say ain't. She's telling me how my grandmother was like, you may be poor, but you're not uneducated. Or, you may be poor, but you are not stupid. I think that was something like that. So you don't say ain't. A-I-N-T, ain't. So we have ain't, reckon, boy, yonder. I know I'm leaving a bunch of stuff out because see, in East Texas and the Southern Plains anyway, you get more of that Southern stuff going on. But you also get some of that Cajun coon-ass stuff going on. Now, coon-ass is not a bad slang word. They call themselves coon-asses. They're from Louisiana. They're Cajuns up in Louisiana. I don't know why they call themselves coon-asses, but that's what they do. I have a friend that I went to school with who was a coon-ass. Actually, at least two of them. And I knew more than that were Cajuns. But at least a couple of them, they called themselves coon-asses. And these are white boys. And I still talk to one of them, and he still sounds the same way he did back then. He still has that Cajun accent. I'm sure most of them do. I put this in front of the litter pan. So the cats were We had a mess on the floor this morning. Anyway, so let's see if I can think of some. Han, can you think of any other southern? Okay. So let's see. A lot of people in the South, for their whole lives, they'll call their mom mommy and their dad daddy. Now, there's also this thing about, I'm using my hands and you can't see them because they're down here. But excuse me. There are regional differences in the South. The South is not a I feel so awful I can't think of the word. Monolithic. See, even in Texas, Texas is big, so you definitely have regional differences there. I lived in Texas for 40 years. There's another 30 instead of 40. All instead of oil. We used to say all. Oil. All. It's not oil, it's all. Nolans. Not New Orleans, but Nolans. Nolans. Howdy. Remember, for those who remember Minnie Pearl, howdy. And you don't say it how, you say it ha, like H-A instead of H-O. But again, this is going to differ depending on where you are in the South. I knew this old boy. There's another slang, old boy. Not old, but ol, O-L, or apostrophe O-L, or is it O-L apostrophe? I don't remember. I think it's apostrophe O-L. Anyway, I knew this old boy, and he was from, I think, South Carolina. And I don't remember exactly. I think from where he was from, you didn't call somebody a cowboy. Because if you called him a cowboy, that meant they were gay. You called him something else. I don't remember. I just thought of another one and I forgot it. That's how good I feel right now. But even say North Carolina, where my mom's family is from, and I sometimes say mom instead of mom, but that's not Southern, okay? But even in North Carolina, North Carolina is not anywhere close to the size of Texas. But there are regional differences in North Carolina. My mother's family, when they arrived in the Americas, they arrived in Virginia. And my beautiful girlfriend in there, she's from Virginia. And her family is probably as old as mine is when it comes to, having been there that long. I'm not from the United States. I'm Spanish. But, even in Spain, there are regional differences. I'm from Andalusia, from Cadiz. And you're going to find people, different slang and whatnot. And see, there's whatnot. Whatnot. That's a Southern slang term. Not a Spanish Southern slang term, but an American Southern slang term. Whatnot. How do I say whatnot? Whatnot is like, oh geez. Maybe I should make this when I'm not sick. You don't say, you got any whatnots? Because that doesn't mean anything. But see, a lot of this stuff really doesn't mean anything except to people that are used to it. When I was in college, there was this girl who was, from Germany.
What'd you say, honey?
Oh, can you think of any other Southern slang?
Y'all.
What?
Y'all.
Y'all. Excellent. Y'all.
Sorry. People up here think it's funny.
They do?
Yeah, when I say y'all.
Yeah, y'all. Now, she will sound a little different than me because, again, she's from Virginia. I lived in Texas. So there's a different accent. There's a different drawl.
Oh, gosh.
Some of the terms may be different. But y'all. Y'all come down now. Y'all coming over? Huh?
Y'all come back here.
Y'all come back here. Y'all coming to dinner tonight? Did y'all see that?
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
There's a song that. Hey y'all. Hey y'all.
So like Virginia, where I have family all over Virginia.
So do I.
So do I. You gotta. And the thing is, you cannot fake a Southern accent, okay?
No, you never lose it.
No, and if you go to the South and you fake a Southern accent, you will be figured out really fast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is one thing you're not going to be able to do is use
And
the
the
slang.
farther you live south, the more accent you have.
Yep. I remember when I first started talking to my uncle on a regular basis, when I was in my 20s, and he has that Southern accent, and I actually had a hard time understanding him. I don't anymore.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because he had that rural North Carolina accent. And I was used to that Texas accent. Although my mother didn't have it. My mother had that, I don't know what you call it. It's the TV news talk people. She talked normal.
Where's John?
I don't know.
I heard him hollering. I couldn't find him. Is he on back to the couch?
Yeah. Hey, John boy. See, that's another Jim Bob.
Yep.
What was
Where's the other bottle, honey?
Billy Bob. I actually have a cousin named Billy Bob. And he's an educated man. I don't know what he sounds like, but he's an educated man. But it's Billy Bob. Oh, Billy Boyd. Excuse me, Billy Boyd. That's his name, Billy Boyd. But there are people named
what?
Billy Bob.
What's his name?
Billy Boyd.
Boyd?
B-O-Y-D, I think.
That's his real name?
Yeah, it's not his last name, but his first and middle names. Billy Boyd. But there are people named Billy Bob. Let's see. There are a whole lot more. I don't know if when I was in college, I took this remedial English class. Oh, I was going to say this girl from Germany. I was trying to explain to her mess, what mess meant, like mess of greens.
Oh.
And it means like you have a large amount. You have
My grandmother used to say that, a mess.
Yeah. And it's like when we were younger, and my mother would cook greens. For those who don't know what greens are,
Greens right now?
yeah, that'd be good. Pot liquor. Greens, you have different types of. Oh boy, this gets me into gardening and food.
Well, up here eat daffodils. Put me dandelions.
Dandelions, yeah.
I never heard anybody eat them until I moved here.
What?
I never heard anybody eat those until I moved here.
Oh, a honeysuckle.
Oh yeah, I used to eat honeysuckle.
Yeah.
I'll still eat that today.
Yeah, honeysuckle's good.
Yeah.
grapevines. We used to smoke grapevines.
What?
Yeah.
You used to smoke them.
Yeah. They don't get you high or nothing. We just thought we were cool smoking grapevines.
Okay, I've heard it all now.
You want them when they're dry because you get a piece about yay long. Yay. I think that's another southern thing. Yay. Yay long. Another thing we used to smoke was cedar leaves.
What?
Yeah, not leaves, cedar bark. Excuse me, cedar bark. When it's dry, you peel it off and you kind of grind it up. You just grind it in your fingers and you roll it in a piece, like a rolling paper, and you smoke. It doesn't get you high or nothing, but we thought we were cool smoking it. And so some of this goes, huh? Smoke what?
Cigars. Me and my cousin, I got 9, 10. We got lots of cigars smoking. We all got cigars.
Oh my.
I think maybe that's why I never really smoked every day, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that again.
Yeah. Now, let me say that not every Southerner uses all these here slang terms. Now, I have kin. Kin is another Southern slang. Kin, K-I-N, kin. My kin down south. No, my grandmother was an educated woman. She may have. I don't think I ever met her. I think she passed away before I was born. But she and my grandma made my baby blanket. Grandma. Instead of grandmother, you say grandma. Sometimes I say da, D-A, for dad, which is an Irish thing, not a Southern thing. But, my uncle has a Southern accent. But he's an educated man. He speaks what normal English, normal American English. I mean, if you talk to him, if you listen to him, he's a Southerner. You definitely hear that accent. But he doesn't, that I can recall offhand, use all this sort of Southern slang. Now, I've been to college, but I still use this Southern slang. I had a teacher. Was she a teacher or a professor, or what was her title? Because you had instructors, teachers, and professors. And the word lot. She's like, don't use the word lot. Lot is an area of land or space or whatever. It's not quantity. But I think most Americans, when they say lot, they mean quantity. I mean, they mean quantity, like you have a mess of greens, a lot of greens. It's not a lot, it's a large amount of. And this girl from Germany in college, I was trying to explain to her what mess meant, like a mess of greens, a mess of books. It's not dirty, it's not messy, it's you have a large quantity of something. I have 2 cousins that are in my age group that are both from the South and live in the South and are teachers, actually at university level, and they don't use this slang that I ever noticed. Just like my uncle and auntie, they don't use this slang that I've noticed. Now, if they do, I just haven't paid attention. The thing is, folks up here, folks is another, folks, F-O-L-K-S, that's another Southern thing, I believe. I feel a lot worse than I look, people. Anyway, I already talked about down yonder. And now, if you're not from the South and you go down south and you're able to get away with faking a Southern accent for a while, the fact that you don't use the terminology, i.e. slang, is going to give you away right away. The fact that you're not going to understand some of the terminology is going to give you away right away. An example is back in the day, if you were black and you were from the north and you went down south and somebody called you a boy, they weren't calling you a boy because you're black. They're calling you a boy because you're a male. And you'd get upset about it. But they're not being racist. They're not calling you a boy because you're black. They're calling you a boy because you're a male, because we called every male a boy. It didn't matter if you were 100 years old, 50 years old, 5 years old. It didn't matter if you were Asian, black, white, or what. You know, you could be Japanese. You could be Irish. You could be Mexican. You could be Canadian. But if you were a male, you were a boy. So if, you know, you go down south and you say, I got a mess of those things at home. They're gonna like, oh, you got a mess to clean up? No, I ain't got no mess to clean up. What you talking about, boy? You see, that would give you away right away. You're not a Southerner. Now, I will tell you, I am a proud New Hampshire Yankee now. But people up here, folks up here, instead of saying people, say folks. Folks up here, they hear me, they hear my girlfriend, they know we ain't from here. Okay? My uncle, my auntie, my cousins, they come up here, and folks know they ain't from up here. Well, actually, my auntie, I shouldn't say that, because on her side of the family, we have kinfolk up here. It's really cool because her side of the family, my uncle's wife's side of the family, originally came from the same place my daddy came from. I think it's kind of cool that they moved from Canada to the northeast United States down to the south. And to me, they're Southerners, okay? That's what they are. I mean, not the folks up here, but she is a Southerner. I'm not sure if she was born down south, but she was raised down south. She grew up down south, so she's a Southerner to me. You know, to me, I'm Spanish. I will always be Spanish because I'm from Spain. But a lot of people would say I'm a Texan because I lived there for 40 years. Well, I don't consider myself a Texan. I consider myself a Spaniard. What?
Spanish, but your parents weren't Spanish.
No, but I was born there.
Yeah, but your parents are American, so you're American.
Yeah.
Born Spanish.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a Virginian or a Yankee? Virginian, because that's where she's from. I mean, that's where she grew up. I mean, that's where her family's from and everything. But she lives here, but she's still a Virginian. And a lot of people, huh? She will always be a Southerner. And I guess, I lived in Texas long enough that some folks would say I'm a Texan. I don't consider myself one, but I remember when my kinfolk is a Southern thing. My kin from Canada. In '94, they went down to visit us in Texas. Excuse me. And they're going to go. They gone to San Antonio to visit us. San Antonio, not San Antonio, but San Antonio. They they like stayed with us for like a week, and then they went to Nolans, and then they came back and spent another week with us. And when I said Nolans, because see they say something like New Orleans or New, I don't know how you properly say it. I can say it sometimes, but not all the time. But I said Nolans, and I remember my one auntie. She said, "Come over here. Listen to how he says this." I said, "Where are we going to?" I said, "You're going Nolans," and they loved how I said it. So it was really cool. Now, when I went to Canada that same year, went in the summer of that year, in August of that year, my cousin had died, and I wish I could have met him again. I remember meeting him on Okinawa. He was a really cool guy, but I wanted to see him again, and sadly I didn't get to see. He was going to be there, but he was killed in an accident. And he and my daddy are buried next to each other up in Canada. Now my daddy, my aunties and cousins, they were telling me when my daddy was dying, they said, "Do you consider yourself a Canadian or an American?" And he said, "Well, I've been in the United States so long, I'm an American now." So he thought of himself as an American. Oh. And but he's buried in Canada. He was eligible to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington National Cemetery. I would not have him exhumed and reinterred in Arlington. I would not do that. Oh, that's another thing. Another Southern thing is. Oh gosh, I wish I could get all this phlegm up. Like up here, there's a town called Charleston. Well, that's how I say it. That's how my girlfriend says it. But they don't say Charleston up here. They say Charlestown. Like, it ain't Charlestown. It's Charleston. Where do you get this Charlestown from? It's Charleston. My hometown, Cadiz. It's spelled C-A-D-I-Z, but we pronounce the Z as an S. My first two words, Haka and Baba. I couldn't say bottle, I said Baba. Haka is a small horse, a pony. But see, that's unique to where I'm from. In Tejas, Texas, you say Haka and they're like, what? Or it means something bad. Horse poop. But that's not what it means. I met one person who was from Texas, but he had worked down in Mexico for this rich family on a ranch. Well, the man was from Spain, and the wife was Mexican. And he said the only time he ever heard the word Haka was from that family. But he knew what I was saying. So, regional slang is not unique to the South. It's worldwide. Even on Okinawa, it's probably that way. Okinawa is a very small place. I believe from one end to the other, it's 62 miles long. The widest point is 5 miles. The narrowest is 1 mile. I don't know if they still do it. They used to have like a marathon run, but it wasn't a marathon because they ran from one end of the island to the other. And that's 62 miles. Now they didn't do a full 62 miles because you couldn't do it back then. But there are probably regional linguistic differences, even on a place as small as Okinawa. You go to the islands surround, the Ryukyu Islands, and there are probably unique linguistic differences from island group or from island to island. I don't know, but I was frankly too young at the time to know that. I mean, I learned a little bit of Okinawan and Japanese, and they are different. The languages are different. The languages are incomprehensible to each other. I mean, a Japanese person listening to an Okinawan person and vice versa. The languages, from my understanding, are incomprehensible to each other. But to, say, an American or a Canadian or a European, they sound just alike. The two languages sound just alike, but they're not. Now, I actually have a cousin who I hope listens to this video, who is a linguist. She is a linguist. My uncle is a mathematician. Another cousin is a historian. And more, I mean, they do more than just those things. But, and my cousin, who is a linguist, knows Japanese. She speaks as fluent Japanese as a non-native speaker can speak. When we moved to the United States, I still spoke some Spanish. And I did till I was a teenager. Down south, we have our own dialects, our own slang, our own whatever, our own whatnots. But this is almost an hour-long video. It's 42 minutes long now. So, can you imagine if I got on this ham radio here or that ham radio there, and I just spoke naturally without thinking about it, and I was talking to somebody in Ireland or Scotland or England or Wales or some other country but the person spoke English, and I started using the southern slang, they would have no idea what I was saying. And if they used their slang, I'd have no idea what they were saying. So, lightheaded. I don't know if I sound stopped up, but I'm congested. And I feel awful. So anyway, I have a daughter in North Texas, and I hope she sees this video because she still lives there. I haven't been in the South for years, but my daughter lives in North Texas. Now, I happen to like North Texas. That's the washing machine people. But if you can, the washing machine. She can probably mention some things that I've totally forgotten. She can probably mention things about Texas slang that I've totally forgotten. My sister, I have two sisters, one in Texas, one in Indiana. the one in Texas can probably mention things. Although I think my sister speaks better English than I do. I don't think she has an accent like I do. I may be wrong because I was used to the way she sounded, so maybe she has an accent. To me, it's just normal. But and the accent, the southern accent, will differ from region to region, even within states. North Carolina, you go to northeastern North Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, western North Carolina, central North Carolina, so forth and so on. I don't know if so forth and so on, is that a southern thing? Would you think so forth and so on is southern, or is that just normal? So I reckon this is a video 45 minutes long now is long enough. So I hope my cousin, who is a linguist, sees this video. I hope she watches the whole thing. And my daughter, I hope she watches the whole thing as well. So I will leave you now. I hope we get some good views on this video, and I apologize for the way I look. I apologize for the way I sound, but I don't feel good. And so my apologies on that, but anyway, have a great day.